Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome to Pro Cycling Manager 2021, just released from Cyanide Studios. This year, I'm going to do a lot more tutorials than I did in the past couple of seasons. Look for that. This is going to be the first of many, and this one, not much of a tutorial in a sense, but we're going to go ahead and take a look up and down the peloton and see what those rider ratings are looking for the premier riders and make some assessments on whether I feel any of those need to be higher or not, but we'll get a brief look. So we open alphabetically with AG2R. AG2R rated at 4.5 stars as a team. I think that's a little high for their rating. Good team, but not quite a great team. Nobody rated above an 80 though. That makes a little bit of sense, but Van Avermaet actually increased rating this year at 36 years of age is a little bit of a strange one for me. He is a good classics rider. He is slightly capable as a sprinter, so the 80 flat rating, 81 cobble, 78 stamina. I think the 78 stamina is great for Van Avermaet, but I'd probably put him more like a 79 cobble. He's a good classics rider, but he's not that great. I see him a little more as a Burrow style these days. He's becoming more of a Thomas de Gent. Oliver Naesen, this for me is a bit more accurate. I think Nasen's a better classics rider than Van Avermaet personally, and his 80-80 on flat cobble is probably fairly spot on. I'm a little surprised with his sprint being as high as it is. He's not known for his speed. Bob Jungels, I think, is fairly spot on. A guy who lacks a bit in specialty, but he's fairly balanced in a number of areas. You can see him pop up from time to time in so many different type of positions, and to see him as a high 70s almost across the board seems just about right for him. Cosnefroy, somebody who's developing, even though he's 26, he's really started to come on the scene about last year. 78 punchy, I think that's good. 75 acceleration, definitely good. He's won some stages a la the punch, so that makes sense to me. On to Alpecin Phoenix. Alpecin Phoenix, Matthew Van Der Poel, an 82 average. Oh my goodness. But I don't think they've done anything wrong here with that assessment. But we'll see if the individual attributes match up. Flat, 83. Yeah, incredible rider on the flat. Always there. Great stamina, great resistance. 82 cobble, absolutely can see that. 84 acceleration might be a hair high, but with a 79 sprint to go with it, he is definitely short spurt, but not full speed. To me, that's a good balance between the two, but I don't know if an 84 acceleration quite makes sense. But have you seen his numbers from early this year? Maybe it does. He can churn out an incredible amount of watts short term. Downhill at an 84 also shows that bike handling ability, but also I'm not sure if I agree with an 84 downhill. 80 plus, absolutely. But is he among the greatest all time? 84 would suggest that, and I'm not sure if he's that good. I'd say 81, 82 downhill would probably make a little more sense. And now an 81 puncher at the same time on a couple of occasions on his day with really good race day condition. We've seen a number worthy of 81. 65 mountain though, well, Van Der Poel's not great there, but I'd maybe actually inch him a little higher. Say he's 67, 68, definitely not a 70, so I can see why he's got a low rating there. But at just 26 years of age, he is getting scary good, one of the best in the world. Millier, it's a little high for me. 80 sprint. He's getting some wins though. He is getting some wins. I'd give him a 79, so it's, I mean, we're talking about minute differences. Philipsen, for me, is a better sprinter than Millier. I think he's already as good, if not better. And he's a 78, 76 on his sprint. I'd probably put them both at 79, to be honest. Maybe not the acceleration part, but I'd put them neck and neck with that. Vermeersch, that's a pretty good rating for me. Arkea Samsic, Quintana, the leader. How is he an 80? How is Quintana an 80? He moved over to Arkea Samsic. We saw his career rebound a little bit, moving away from Movistar, but very little. How is he an 80? I don't understand. He is not an 81 mountain, not even close anymore. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, sure. But now, Quintana barely can scratch the top 10 in any race. He's not an 80 plus in any category. I don't think he's even close to that anymore. He's a 78 mountain at best. Maybe 79 if you pull my leg, but I wouldn't agree to it. I would still say he's a 78 mountain. He's nowhere near an 81. That's a terrible rating. I think this from what we've seen so far, is by far the worst. And recovery at an 80, have they not watched him in a Grand Tour in the last 4 years? He fades. He starts well, he's there, he's amongst the contenders, and as the tour goes on, he fades. And he fades really poorly. He's nowhere near an 80 recovery. So his mountain rating, his recovery rating, both quite low. I get the resistance part. There's times where he cracks early, so that makes sense that that's lower than his mountain rating. But I don't like this rating at all. I would change that if it were me. I think Barguil is almost as good as Quintana right now. He, since moving to Arkea Samsic, has rebounded in his career better than Quintana has. And a 77-79, more of a puncher. Yeah, I think that's accurate. A 77 overall, he's still good, but he's not elite. That's the same with Quintana. Quintana's still good, but he's not elite anymore. 80 suggests that he's one of the best climbers in the world. Okay, I have bias. I really don't like Buoni as a person, as a human being. Look him up if you don't know what I'm talking about. 77 sprint, because of bias, I'd say is too high, but only slightly. I'd give him 76s, but I think that's more because I just don't like the guy. Astana, Yannis Zagira. That's 77 overall, sounds good. 78 mountains, 77 hills, 73 resistance, 75 recovery. Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. Fulsang, a little bit better, a little more punchy. Sounds about right. Vlasov. How is Vlasov a 77 and Quintana an 80? How is Quintana 81 mountain and Vlasov a 79 mountain? Vlasov head-to-head would destroy Quintana. Vlasov is 25. He's up and coming. He is not quite elite. He's close. I wouldn't up his mountain rating. I think 79 is fine. I'd give him a little more resistance. I'd give him a 75 resistance. And he's got a little better acceleration than that. Maybe not topping more than 70, but I think he's got a little more acceleration. He's got a little more punch ability. And I think Vlasov isn't quite that bad in the time trial, but 68's not that bad, so I don't know. Recovery, I think at this point in his career, that's about right. Stamina's about right. Instead of upping his mountain rating, I would up the acceleration a couple points. I'd up the resistance a couple points, and then I think you would be spot on. But for him to be lower rated than Nairo Quintana is straight up criminal. He is a better rider, if not the same quality as Quintana at this point. Much younger, much more potential, but already better than Quintana. Quintana hasn't done anything in about 4 years now. Lutsenko, that's fairly criminal as well. I mean, he's leading after 6 stages at the time of recording. He's leading the Criterium de Dauphiné. I get that he's more punchy than climbing. I like that he's balanced. He's got no rating below a 70, but I think he's another one that they've got a little bit wrong. He should be a little higher. Vlasov should definitely be higher. I don't like Astana. Their history of doping issues that they've had again and again and again. I don't trust many of the riders that ride for Astana. I don't trust the team. I'm glad that their ratings aren't higher than what they are, and they don't earn a lot of victories. But I think Vlasov is better than he's given credit for. I think Lutsenko is as well. I think Aaron Burrow, 76 seems a little high to me. But when you look at the actual ratings here, that doesn't look like a 76 to me. He's got a punchy of 77. We're not a good climber. Acceleration, the downhill maybe. I don't know what's dragging him up. To me, that looks like somebody who's a 75 on paper. To see Sanchez this low within the team, surprising. But he's 37. I could see him dropping. Izagirre has really dropped off, so I can see him being down there. B&B, Cockard, their top man and their best. And just a 75. As good, if not slightly better, than Buoni. So if Buoni's 77s, Cockard's got to be a 77, 78. Which I wouldn't do. I'd put Cockard at straight 77s. I'd put Buoni that shade below 76, 77. I'd swap those two if it were me. Roland, I'm surprised he's only a 74, but then at 34 years of age, we have seen him drop off, so I can see his ratings dropping as a result. Bora, Sagan dropping. Makes sense. He was so phenomenal, so amazing, but at this age, he's dropping off. Cobble rating, sure. Sprint 79, acceleration being a little down. Should it be that low? Is his acceleration worse than Buoni's? Probably not. Give an acceleration of about 77 though, and he's not an elite sprinter, so 79 sounds about right. The stamina resistance is pretty solid. The recovery is pretty good. That's why he wins green jerseys. Bear durability, not that that means anything in career mode, of 80 makes a lot of sense. Downhill 84, best bike handler in the history of the sport, in my opinion. Should be an 85, really. Cobble rating of 81, probably should be an 82, but I think they're trying to compensate for something so that he doesn't just go out and win. And he doesn't win those. I think at 31, him dropping to an 81 cobble rating is probably good. I would give him a little bit better mountain rating. I'd give him a 68 because of all the sprinters, he always outclimbs the others, and that's why he wins so many green jerseys. Punchiness, of course. Ackerman, 81 sprint. Oof. Well, I don't know about that. Is Ackerman that fast? How many results has he gotten? Some. Certainly some. He's good. I don't know if he's that good. For me, for Schachmann, this feels a little low, but he does seem to be converting a bit away from GC, focusing more on punch ability, so I can see that they've kind of swapped his ratings a bit. But he is a good climber. He's just not elite. So 77 mountain to me would be maybe a 76. 75 just feels a bit off for me. But the punchiness, sure. Kelterman, I think that's pretty close. To me, right now, Kelderman, similar to Quintana. I think Kelderman is probably as good as Quintana right now. And that's this set of ratings should be what Quintana has. Just lower time trial, of course, but stage racing attributes for Kelderman, or climbing attributes. Kelderman, that's about what Quintana should have, in my opinion. Bookman, another one. How is he so low here? How is Bookman not higher? How is Bookman 3 points mountain below Quintana? Doesn't make any sense. This is a team that's come a long ways, though. This Bora team is getting better and better year by year. I mean, they used to be a one horse. They are definitely getting more formidable year by year, slowly but surely. Bahrain victorious, formerly Bahrain McLaren. Landa 79. I always feel he's a little overrated. Only a little. I'd give him an 80 for mountain. I don't think he's that strong. He always underperforms. High expectations, underperforms every race. Caruso. I think Caruso might be better than Landa at this point. And I think these two should be swapped. And I think Caruso's ratings probably look spot on to me. Bilbao looks about right. Mohoric, puncher. I think he's a little better climber than that, though. 72, 73. Toynes, that's good. Poles. There was such high expectations when Poles left Ineos, and then he's never delivered. And now at 33, I'd say that's probably pretty good. Colbrelli has dropped off. Colbrelli is not the same, but a 76, 76 seems awfully low to me. Gil Martin, the leader for Cofidis. I think that's pretty good, except for I think his time trialing. He's not a good time trialist, but he's not that bad. And I think that's going to hurt him in-game quite a bit. Also, I think his resistance is better than he is given credit for. Also, recovery. Climbing-wise, though, that's about right. He is definitely not an elite climber. He is a good climber, and he can get top 10s with a weak team without support and go fairly unnoticed. Or he could go win a KOM if that was his target. But he always... Viviani, I think Viviani's really fallen off. Calling him a 77 it seems a little high, but then when we look at the ratings, 78, 77, sounds about right. Poor resistance, terrible climber. Yeah, you could almost argue he's worse than that, but 59, probably about right. Harada, Laporte, I'd say Laporte's about as fast as Viviani these days. Ducanic, strong team, a lot of good riders. Alaphilippe, yeah, 83 punch. I think he's lost just a little bit of a step. Just a little, like 1 point from where he was. Acceleration, the resistance, though, fantastic. 75 mountain seems about right now. Time trialing seems slightly high for me. I'd put him mid 75, like 75, 76-ish, not 77, 78. Sam Bennett, 83 sprint, maybe 82. He's fast, but he's not crazy fast. Everything else looks good, and that's fairly close. I'd say 80 overall. Gavagna, great time trialist. Give him a higher Baradur rating. I'd give him a higher punch rating and a higher climbing rating. He's not a good climber, but 65 seems really low. Somewhere between 68 and 70. Asgreen, 81 cobble, 82 flat. I think that's pretty close. That's pretty close, except for while he's not known as a sprinter, where so many of the other classics guys have low to mid 70s, for him to be below 70s when he tends to win more often than those guys, yeah, I don't know. But to be an 80, it seems good. How is Evenepoel the 5th best rider on Duquesne Quickstep? He's one of the best riders in the world. He's better than Sam Bennett, Cavagna, or Asgreen to me. I'd put Bennett as an 80 overall. I'd put Cavagna as a 79 overall. I'd put Asgreen as an 80 overall. I'd put Evenepoel as an 80 or 81. I don't think this is good enough. If you watched my Zwift series, you would have already seen I wasn't too high on him for GC for the Giro, where so many people had him pegged for winning or getting a podium. I said he wouldn't be in the top 10. That's exactly what happened. The time trialing, absolutely one of the best. Should be an 82. Even the prologue should be a bit higher. I think the mountain rating of 77 is perfect. I think the hills rating should be a 79 or 80. I think his cobble rating should be better than that. I think his sprint capability is better than that. I think his stamina is much better than that. Yves Lampart, yeah, that's good. 78, 79 as a classics rider. Almeida, 79, I think, as a 22-year-old. I think that's pretty close. David A. Ballerini, is he that much better than all those other guys we've seen as sprinters? I think he's up there with them, but I don't think he's better than those guys. I mean, this is putting him as second, third best sprinter we've seen so far. That feels a little too high for me. Stibar, fading. That sounds about right. Seneschal, I don't think Direct Energy has anybody rated this high. 77 seems really high for me. Good classics rider, but maybe not that good. Bonifacio, I like that. I like that. He gets rare wins in sprints. Latour, a 75. Oh, I like this. This is him actually being knocked down a peg and finally not overrated. He's always overrated so badly in this game. Carthy, solid, 78 overall. Good mountain rating. I like it. That's a good rating. Bettiol, sure, I can go for that. I can get on board with that. Higuita as well. Solid climber. I don't know if he's quite that good as a puncher, though. Maybe drop him a point or two there. Yikes. Uran, just a 76 overall, 77 mountain. That feels a little off for me. He is not that bad. He's 34, he's fading, but he's no worse than Quintana. I think Uran can ride with Quintana all day long. I think you know which one I think has been done the worst. I think Quintana's rating is by far the worst one we've seen. Nowhere near where the rider actually is, in my opinion. Yes, he has rebounded some since moving to Arkea Samsic and looks a little better, but he's not that good. We're seeing the guys that he's regularly with at the finish of races, and they are much lower than him in ratings. I'd put DeMar straight 80s. I wouldn't put him above. Feels a bit too much for me. Kung, sure. Gaudu, sure. Pinot, down to a 78 overall. I like this. They seem to finally... The French riders always seem to be rated a bit too high for my liking every year in this game. French company making it. A little bias, and it always shows. It's not showing this year. I'm proud of them. Ghana, highest rated rider for Ineos. Flat 83, time trial. Yeah, best in the world right now. And not very good at anything else. Okay. Bernal, 82 mountain. Feels right. He's not 1 point better than you-know-who. He's much better than you-know-who, but pretty punchy too. Time trial, I'd put him slightly better on the time trial. He doesn't lose much time. He certainly didn't in the Giro. He only lost a little bit of time on the time trial. And 70, 71 just feels a bit too low. He's not great. He's not amazing. But a 73, 72, 73s across the board seems a little more representative. Resistance feels right at 74. Recovery in the 80s, also right. And he's more capable on the cobbles than they gave him credit for sure. Cara Paz, 80 overall, 81 mountain. I like it. Gegenhardt. Ooh, they've really seen him grow and develop after winning the Giro last year, but I think that was more circumstantial. I like that he's below an 80 on the mountain. I'd actually maybe even put him a 78, but a little more resistance to kind of make up for it. Pidcock, dang, he's coming along. 79 overall now, 81 punchiness, 82 downhill. Could be right. Dennis, is he that strong of a time trialer anymore? I don't know if he is. He used to be a regular winner, regular podium finisher. Not so much anymore. Thomas, I like that he's not been overdone here, just a 78. Kwiatkowski did not have a great year this last year, but him as a 73 mountain is just horribly below where it should be. 76, 77, coming off of not a fantastic year, but he's much better as a climber than that. But I love that otherwise he's almost 70 and above everywhere. Yates feels about right. Martinez, I don't know about that rating. I think after what we just saw in the Giro, that he worked for Bernal and comfortably supported him, was still in a high overall GC place after doing that. How can you give an 81 mountain to Quintana and have Martinez ranked below him, where he would crush Quintana these days? Good rating. I like that one too. Such a strong team. Ooh, Sivakov, only a 70. How is he a 75 overall? How is his resistance that low? It's not great. It is noted that he is not great with stamina resistance, but I just don't see him that far down the pecking order. Monte Gobert, Intermarche now. Pascalon, about right. Van Poppel, yep. Hermans, that's what they got. Looks about right to me. Israel Startup, is Woods a 79? I don't know about that anymore. People hope for that, but I don't, especially at 34. That's too high. Van Mark, 79 or 80 on Koppel. Maybe not an 81, but otherwise he's fine. Dan Martin's best member of that team, and his ratings look right to me. Where? Hello? Holy cow. Oh my goodness, things have changed. But you know what? At 36 years of age, coming off of a horrific injury, I think they might actually even have this pretty close to accurate. Jumbo Visma, Roglic, 82 mountain, 82 hills, 80 time trial. Are we fishing to try to make sure he wins? Is he the best right now? Maybe. But is he miles beyond anybody else? No. He's better, but slightly. This feels too much for me. 80 plus, yes. But in 82 with just crazy numbers, I don't know. Van Aert in 81, that does feel right. This guy's crazy good. I think he was right of the season, and a 74 mountain rating is ridiculous. I think Van Aert is easily 77 plus. If Alaphilippe has that kind of rating, why wouldn't Van Aert have that kind of rating? The guys aren't known as climbers, but both guys are capable. And Van Aert, last year in the Tour, led more kilometers at the front on climbs than any other rider in the entire peloton. How would you do that with the 74 mountain rating? 80 resistance helps. Groenewegen, 80s, sure. Koos, 80 mountain. Yeah, actually, I can get on board with that. He is now an elite climber. Fike, okay. Finney feels a little high. Debulon, they did include him after he quit, but he's back. Apparently, I haven't seen him. Okay, I'm feeling so much better about his ratings. They finally dropped him down. I've been so mad for years on how highly rated he was in this game. Foss feels a little low for me. I'd put Foss around a 78 mountain now. Ewan looks good. I think he's the best sprinter right now. And then the big drop off. Lopez, is he that good? He's another one of those guys that I think is ever so slightly overrated. Always high expectations. So many people pick him to win or finish on the podium, and then he falls flat and ends up in 8th, 9th, 10th place. Race after race after race after race. I'd put him at a 79 mountain with lower recovery, like a 75, and resistance of about a 73. But otherwise, that would still make him a 77 or 78 overall. I'd say 78. Moss, on par. I think he's about as good as Lopez. Valverde, man, oh man, they just cannot let this guy drop in ratings, even at 41. He's still been impressive, though. Soler down here actually makes a certain amount of sense. Garcia Cortina, I think, is somebody who's better than he gets credit for. Quebeca, Solo, okay. Campenarts, sure. Clark, yeah, nothing wrong with those. Yates, I like this. He's not an elite climber. He was picked as a favorite for the Giro, but he's got great resistance. He can hang in there, except for when he blew up in the Giro a couple years back. But now, I like this. I like the way they did the ratings for him. He's good. He's solid. There's something about him that's special. High resistance. Won't get dropped on a punchy climb, but isn't an elite climber. I really like the way they did his ratings. Chavez. Not quite similar, though. I don't know. Matthews. I think Matthews is the second best rider on the team. I think he's a better puncher than that. I think he's a better sprinter than that, but only slightly. 77s. As good as Buoni. He could beat Buoni. I like Hamilton's ratings. DSM. Last three teams here. Hindley. Okay. Krog Anderson should be a little higher cobble rated. 76, 77. He's just below those guys that are elite. Stamina should be a bit better too. But otherwise, I like his ratings. Bardet dropping off a bit. You drop Bardet, but you don't drop Quintana. I'm still confused by that. Case Bull. It's about right. Trek. Pedersen. Good rating. Definitely good rating. Stuyven. Feels too high to me. Feels much too high to me. He's good, but not that good. Malimo's better. Chiccone's better. I like Chiccone's ratings. Nibali. I like that they finally dropped him. They've always had Nibali rated so high. Finally. Drop him down. Pikachu. Whew. Mountain and Hills at 82. If Bernal's at 82, I'd put Pogacar. Fine. Yeah, okay. Okay, 82. That's fine. That's fine for me. Yeah, I actually do. I like his ratings. Maybe 81.5 Mountain for me. Maybe 77 time trial for me. But Bernal, like I said, should be 73, 74. Hershey, sure. Great puncher. Right now he's maybe the only one who can really truly contend with Alaphilippe as pure punchers. You got a couple of those climbers, Pogacar, Roglic, that can keep up Bernal. Now see, Gaviria has really dropped off for me. And they have dropped him off. He's not in the 80s anymore. He's low resistance. He's a terrible climber. But there's some guys, I don't know. There's a couple guys behind him that might be a bit better. For me, Kristoff has dropped off a bit more, but he did pick up his first win in forever. Feels a little high for Micah at this point. Feels a little low for McNulty. Maybe not. It might be okay. And that does it, folks. We've gone all the way through the World Tour teams, main World Tour teams, and we've seen what we have in store for us for this season in rider ratings. Most of them are fine. You know, little things. For me, just one rider. One that is just flat wrong by a mile. Nowhere near correct in rating. Venipol also was quite low. But that's about it. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Go ahead and drop a comment in for that algorithm, and I will see you next time. Like I said, we're going to get a lot more of actual tutorials in this year in Pro Cycling Manager 2021. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Mask up, vax up. See you next time. Bye for now.